Need anything else? Need anything else?
Of course. But please, remember, you're not the only one in need.
Sylvanus be with you.
Looking for steel? I have, well, something close.
Hold on to it for now. I haven't quite worked out a schematic for a new design. Might take me a bit of crunching to figure out something suitable. If it can even be done. But it's my top priority, believe me. Anything to take my mind off, well, everything.
My forge. We're exposed now.
Where did I put that old bucket?
Hell's take me. What I wouldn't do for better tools. No, we're exposed now.
Doesn't taste half bad.
I've already heard. Arabella, 9 summers old. And now she'll never see another. Because of Druid law. Every natural law demands I take up my sword, storm their lair, and... But no. That's what Korga wants. To prove we are exactly what she says. A threat. I won't give her the satisfaction. I'll get my people clear of this, but on our terms. So, Korga's twisted your mind as well. Please, just listen. Sending us out there is a death sentence. But there is another way. If you want to turn your blade on anyone, turn it on the goblins. You won't be able to cut them all down. There's a horde of them out there.
But they're ill-disciplined. It's unusual for them to organize so cleverly. Somebody must be leading them, bringing discipline to their ranks. Take out that leadership, and they'll scatter.
The Blade of Frontiers has done what he can to help us prepare for the journey, and we are grateful. But it'll be a short journey if the goblins still own the roads.
By the Triad, there is only one correct answer. Refuse him, and we sentence these people to die.
I suppose so. We don't have much, but we'll scrape together whatever we can. Of course. Everything we have. Anything we can give you, we will. We'll be ready to leave as soon as you give word. Just Zevlor, Tilly. We're civilians now, remember?
With respect, sir, being a Hellrider is for life. They can't take...
And
This is a nightmare.
What's that?
surprised this hay hasn't gone up in flames yet.
Hey, there's a chest in here.
No time to rest. You... what? Fine. I hope you choke on it.
He can afford it. He's got one less mouth to feed now.
Wow. I mean, wow.
Better be cautious. What do we have here? I don't need any attention right now. Don't mind if I do. Out of sight, out of mind. At least things have stayed interesting. Where am I needed?
Attention.
I'm ready.
Looking ahead. I'm way too big.
Come on, let's go.
My faith protects me.
No one's stopped me yet. Something's on my mind. What's up for discussion?
Look at that beast. Seems almost too big to take flight.
I tangled with a dragon once. Never forgot it.
It would be too much to hope that's nothing to do with us.
That thing could swallow us in a gulp.
One horn! The stink of Avernus! Advocatus Diaboli!
Well, I'll be God's damned. The Blade of Frontiers. Thought I'd shaken you for good. That'll teach me to underestimate you.
Karlach! The Archdevil Zariel's gladiator. Come to burn the Sword Coast to ash.
If by met you mean hoofing it through the hells with this fucker on my tail.
Shut it, devil! I know your kind. A heart darker than a shadow's nightmares. You'd cut a child's throat just to taste the blood.
A devil? I didn't take the blade for a fool. I'm...
A great fire roars through you. The fire of the first hell. You are Karlach, tearing through demons across a blood-red landscape of fire and volcanic cinder. The front lines of the Blood War. With every swing of her axe, Karlach fulfills Mistress Zariel's purpose.
Proof! Clear as summer sky. It's over, Karlach. It's time you feel the sting of the blade.
I've tried to tell you. I'm not what you think I am.
Another vision. Karlach's blade rays slicing through devils, Zariel's servants, as her eyes dart around, seeking escape. Will shudders with Karlach's desperation. She is a victim of the Blood War, not an agent of it.
By Balduran's helm, No, I will not be tricked.
You saw the truth. I may be an effective soldier, but I never wanted to serve Zariel. Legged it away from her the first chance I got.
And yet you served.
Will catches his breath and his lips straighten. Sheer dread twists his face.
No! Devils cannot be trusted!
You know monsters better than anyone. Can't you look in my eyes and see I'm not a devil?
You don't know what this means. You don't know what you're asking me to do.
I'm asking you to live, Will. I don't want to hurt you. And to be frank, I'd rather not find out how the blade got his name. I swear to you, on all I am, I'm not what you think.
Shit! Shit.
You really are no devil, are you? I've been deceived.
Oh, thank the gods. Thought I was gonna have to take your head.
You would have died in the attempt. But there have been enough threats today.
Truce then, eh?
Aye. Truce.
I see the good in you, Karlach. I promise not to lose sight of it. Even when the hells burn hottest.
Glad Will saw sense. Even more glad he decided to stick around. Takes a pretty slick mover to track down old Karlak. Fair. But still, the man's got a reputation for being lethal with that blade. I'm glad it's on our side.
You've been witness to a pantomime, I'm sorry to say. And I've played my part all too poorly. I can say only this. Karlak's not the only one who's had a villain's knife held to their throats. One night soon, when we make camp, the veil will be lifted, and I'll pay my penance. And you'll have them, but I can't promise you'll like them.
My good fellow. Quite the cozy setup you have here. I'll just make myself comfortable. Not yet, I'm afraid. But my...
Thank goodness that's all dealt with. The odds are stacked high enough against us already. No need to turn on each other. Ah, yes. Karsus. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he tried. With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mistral, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like to be a god. To know yourself, to be untouchable. To be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel, and with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mistral sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistral. The end of Karsus and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more. An event that came to be known as Karsus's folly. If it takes the death of a god to stop you, I'd say your ambition has gotten somewhat out of hand. Not that I'm one to talk, of course. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mistra, but to prove my love for her. I tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go. If it should ever come to that, if I ever know I am no longer able to stop it, I will do anything I can to ensure no one but me pays for my mistakes. I will find the remotest place on the surface of Faerun, or perhaps far below in the depths of the Underdark. I will await that death, alone. I promise I will not betray your trust. You kept me by your side despite the menace that I am. If worst comes to worst, I will be long gone before the curtain falls. I know what it is to hunger. And I know what it takes to keep that hunger under control. He's done that so far, despite his condition. So long as he sates his appetite elsewhere, I'm happy to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Nothing like a little camp drama to spice up the evening. It's almost a pity things ended so amicably. Seeing those two duke it out would be fun. What's to tell? I was sired by a vampire named Cazador. Everything before that is so long ago it's ancient history. And everything that came after, well, I'd rather not reflect on it. I was a magistrate, working to keep the peace in Baldur's Gate, imprisoning troublemakers, that kind of thing. I can't remember much, truth be told. Centuries of torment will do that to you. I was attacked. A gang of vagrants, a tribe of wandering Gur, took issue with a ruling I'd made. They beat me to death's door when Cazador appeared. He chased them off and offered to save me, to give me eternal life. Given that my choices were eternal life or bleed to death on the street, I took him up on the offer. It was only afterwards I realized just how long eternity could be. Why do you insist on exhuming the past? I was a slave. A vampire spawn. Kept by the Tsar family. Perhaps I still am. I was never able to resist their commands. But now, I've been conveniently lost. They won't ever control me again. It's simple. Just find a vampire that will drink your blood and turn you into a vampire spawn. Their obedient puppet. In theory, the next step is to drink their blood. Once you've done that, you're free and a true vampire. People think the biggest threat to a vampire is a cleric with a stake. It's not. The biggest threat to a vampire is another vampire. They're scheming, paranoid, power-hungry beasts. So why would any vampire give up control over a spawn to create a competitor? Trust me, it doesn't happen. I won't lie. It's tempting. If I keep the tadpole, I risk transforming into a grotesque monster. If I lose the tadpole, Cazador has control of me, body and soul, and I return to the shadows. It's grim either way. So why not sell what's left of my soul to a devil? Better he has it than Cazador. You're familiar with the phrase, better the devil you know? I know Cazador, and I'll take anything that saves me from that.
Good thing for Will that Karlach called a truce. A tiefling that mighty would shred him to pieces and burn the remains. Now, what did you need? If you must know, Vlaakith requires everything of her children. I can't count how many bruises I've inflicted. Can't measure how much blood I've drawn in the Undying Queen's name. I know only blood red and death black. My mind is silver, and my body steel. I am what I must be, say what I must be, to survive every beast I face and every wound I bear. Entirely. I was as devoted to my studies as I was to my training. Each creche contains a Zaithisk purification device. So I learned from the writings in the Kalir Library. The library was a gift from Vlaakith herself, that we may gain total understanding. Not books, but slates. Wisdom so profound it is etched into stone. Truth as perfect as the queen who decreed it. Countless scholars roam the astral sea and beyond, observing the ways of our lessers, exploring planes so distant order turns to chaos and cold fires rage. The planes are ever quaking, and their peoples ever shifting. The Githyanki possess an eternity of knowledge. Yet we still collect more. Infinities upon infinities. I expect I am your first. Of course you haven't. They would have cut you from navel to neck. You are no less alien to me than I am to you. I know of your kind, but I do not often encounter them. That large, fleshy nose of yours looks like a mistake. Better is an opinion, but mine is certainly more economical, disciplined, dignified. I understand much beyond your comprehension. More to the point, I know the cure for our condition. It is imperative we locate a creche. You do well to observe more and question less. Yes, in great detail. It starts with a fever and memory loss. Then you start to hallucinate. Your hair falls out, and you bleed from every orifice. Your bones will change form. Your jaw will split to allow room for 4 great tentacles. All skin will turn to gore and be shed to reveal new flesh underneath. Then you have ceased to exist, and a mind flayer is born. Words forged in steel. May your actions express the same metal. We must find my kind and be rid of the parasite. It's as simple as that. The first symptoms should have long since started, though. That is what puzzles me. Yes, if you give it no further thought. But anomalies lead to surprises. Bad surprises. Besides, what hasn't happened may yet come to pass. Mark my words, this power would be no blessing, but a curse. You might as well ask me to gouge out my eyes for the promise of sight, or slice off my tongue for the promise of taste. Consume all the gate tadpoles you wish. I'm not so craven. Perhaps you... No, that's absurd. When the tadpole has stretched to every pore and slithered through every vein, what am I to do then? It won't hear my screams. It won't care if I beg. I will be remade in its image. My faith in Vlaakith will guide me, and my own might will sustain me. I have no need of this depraved power. You might be right. The Githyanki have long studied Geich and used what we've learned. The Zaithisk itself was devised from such knowledge. The tadpole is perhaps not just a curse, but a weapon I can twist and mold to my advantage. Very well. I will swallow my disgust and avail myself of the parasite's powers. Speak.
Well met. Not so enchanting as you'd think. The Portiers, the Caldwells, They were the blue bloods hosting the fancy balls and drinking from gold goblets. Father's the son of a blacksmith, born with barely a coin in the coffers. He made a name for himself among the Flaming Fist, brave as Baldur and stubborn as a deep Rothay, daring, outspoken, but hardly posh. I spent more time dueling with Father than I did rubbing elbows with lords. Not to say I didn't develop a taste for good wine and a talent for courtly dance. Yes and no. Father taught me the 4 pillars of power: courage, insight, strategy, justice. He reckoned I'd follow in his footsteps. First as a fist marshal, then as a duke. Vanquish evil, maintain order, save the world. But a duke makes bedfellows with more monsters than he slays. Father called it diplomacy. I called it hypocrisy. In the frontiers, there is no posturing, no diplomacy. I slay monsters. I don't consort with them. Well, not when I can avoid it. He brings to mind a story. The Devil with the Silver Tongue. An old fairy tale my father read to me. The kind with a hero, a villain, and a moral. A farmer made a deal with the devil, so the story goes. In exchange for the farmer's dearest fruit, the devil granted him a bottomless coin purse. The farmer's dearest fruit, naturally, was no apple nor peach, but his beloved daughter. We can learn a lot from fairy tales, don't you think? Do not trust Raphael. Is that plain enough? Refuse him, no matter how tempting the offer, no matter how delicious the feast he lays out for you. The cost will be too great. Take a single step towards him, and he'll dog you the whole journey. You might think you'd give up anything for a cure, but the devil won't take just anything. He'll take everything. My father once said, "One does not pursue a champion's life. One merely answers its call." So it was for me. After my exile, I was hunting near the Cloakwood. I heard a child crying out from a lone farmstead. I found him in the fields, flanked by goblins. His mother's corpse bled into the soil next to him. I don't remember much of the battle, but I remember drying the boy's tears after. No, but he named me friend, and that meant the world. But what of the others? The children never saved, the cries never heard. In the boy's tears, I finally saw the suffering wrought by the villains of the wild. The frontiers demanded a blade, and so I heeded. I shouldn't be surprised. You are a great talent. When darkness falls, you make your own light. The helpless, though, they need the light of others. They're the ones who seek out the blade. I think that unknowable powers come with unknowable consequences. I can't say I'm not curious. But once you take an illithid by the talon, there's no telling how deep into the abyss it might drag you. Yes, I suppose we should. Though I'm more than a bit wary. Still, I am the frontier's avowed protector. New dangers require new skills to vanquish them. If the tadpole must be my curse, then let the powers it grants me be the Sword Coast's blessing. I will consume what I must to make it so.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Seems like Will and Karlak will play nice from now on. Saves us having to pick sides. Quite the understatement, but yes, I have it. And I'll guard it with my life. Then so be it. I did my duty. As for the artifact, it's powerful, and has a mind of its own sometimes. You'd better hope you're up to bearing it. Don't forget what it was like when you heard the voice. It'll only get worse if you don't have the artifact to protect you. It's called faith. Duty. It doesn't have to add up to me as long as I serve. I'm part of a bigger plan. One that will be revealed in time. How cynical. I should borrow that line sometime. But if I have to die, so be it. Like I said, faith. The wound on my hand. It never quite heals. And sometimes it causes terrible pain to rip through me. It's my burden, though, from Lady Shah. I can feel her influence somehow. It's difficult to say. Sometimes I wonder if it's supposed to be guiding me, punishing me, testing me. But perhaps it's none of those. Perhaps it's completely random. I'd like to hope there's more to it than that. Some meaning that Lady Shah will reveal to me when the time is right. Until then, all I can do is endure. I'll try my best. But secrecy is ingrained in me. Lady Shah considers it greater protection than any shield or armor. You already know my biggest secrets. What more can you ask? She took me in when no one else would. Without her, I wouldn't be alive. She's my mother. She nurtures me, cares for me, loves me. Don't believe the lies the Selûnites tell. What, besides my life's calling and the greatest problem I've ever faced? Well, I like night orchids and can't swim. Is that the sort of thing you meant? No, I can't. Quite literally, I mean. With my memories suppressed, I can't betray Shah's secrets. But I can't remember much of myself either. If I manage to return to Baldur's Gate and fulfill Shah's mission, then my memories will be restored. Of course. It is an act of faith, not to be undertaken lightly. Shah will reward me when I succeed. We've been through quite a lot, with likely more to come. Care to narrow it down a little? Must I? Thinking about it won't help. We know what to do, so let's do it. Find a way to rid ourselves of these things. Personally, I think finding this Halcyon is our best bet. I'm not too hopeful that a Gith Kresh will actually prove our salvation, but worth keeping in mind. I suppose we'd go our separate ways. Not a slight on your company, of course. Home. Baldur's Gate. There's someone waiting for me there. Someone I have to reach. As soon as possible. Thank you. And you're right. It's a delicate matter. Not something for light conversation. I don't think I've ever had a confidant quite like you. And if I have, I can't remember them. I'm sure you do. But please try to understand that it's not something I can just talk about freely. Very well. Perhaps there's potential in you. Let's see how you handle this. I am indeed a disciple of Shah, Mistress of the Night and Lady of Loss. I assume you've heard of her? Well, if that troubles you, perhaps you should fetch the bailiff to arrest me. Ah, but there's no bailiff here, is there? Just leagues of wilderness and the dangers lurking within. We're in this together, but I'll happily go it alone. My faith will keep me company. Fine. What's on your mind? On one hand, they seem useful. But on the other hand, or perhaps tentacle before long, we know where they're coming from, and what lies at the end of that path. I never expected ceremorphosis to be tempting. I think we should resist these powers. There's simply too many unknowns for us to risk it. Well, perhaps you have a point. Fine. Let's explore these powers then. I just hope we don't come to regret it. May the darkness protect you.
A hero at heart.
Amigos and
time to rest. Hope you're keeping well, friend.
Master? Friend. I stayed with him until I knew he was gone. I'll never forget him. But I'm glad to have met you.
Ah, my good fellow. Quite the cozy setup you have here. I'll just make myself comfortable. Thank you so much. Quite the cozy setup. My research turned up a rather brilliant technique that seems quite actionable. It's not too deep. Just behind the orbital socket. I could attempt an extraction. I've a needle in my tunic, after all. I assure you, I've dreamt of it 1,000 times over.
Volo carefully holds one of your eyes open and begins to prod uncertainly with the needle. The needle finds the gap between eyeball and socket. Volo frowns and begins to push. Pain shoots through your body as the needle snags on your optic nerve.
I think I have it!
The needle seesaws back and forth, plucking the nerve like a harp string.
Oh, bother. There's some obstacle in the way. I shall need a more robust implement.
Volo carefully withdraws the needle from your eye. Then, reaching into his bag, he produces an ice pick. Volo slowly brings the ice pick closer to your eye.
Now, don't move.
Cold metal presses against the skin beneath your brow. And then, tap, tap, stab.
Do you feel that? Ha! I think we have the blighter on the run. I agree. It's a feisty critter. Just a little further.
Volo tears the pick from your brain with a violent jerk. Your eye plops down into the mud.
Drat!
He pauses, looks down at your eye, and recoils slightly as it sinks into the mud.
There appears to be an amount of cosmetic damage. Please, try not to overexert yourself. You're in a rather fragile state at present. I can't help but feel partly responsible. Perhaps there is something more I can do. Take this. A far superior relic to that old jelly you were chained to. Try it on for size. And, it was very nice to have met you. I'm sure you'll sort out your little brain problem one way or another. Far away from here, if you've a heart. Terribly sorry, my friend. Ta.
May the darkness protect you. If you're sure. Fine. I'll be here whenever you rediscover your taste in company.
Welcome to the League of the Lone Eye, my friend. Not to minimize the pain of Volo's poking and prodding, but I promise, you'll be used to the prosthesis in no time. Besides, I find it gives one an air of mystique. No one's more intriguing than a man with one eye. Are you sure? The blade stands at the ready. And just when things were warming up.
Speak. It is done.
I suppose you want to hear about Cazador. My old master. Before the Mind Flayers took me from him. Before this strange, twisted freedom. Cazador Zar is a vampire lord in Baldur's Gate. the patriarch of his coven, and a monster obsessed with power. Not political power or military power, I mean power over people. The power to control them completely. He turned me nearly 200 years ago. I became his spawn, and he became my tormentor. He had me go out into Baldur's Gate to fetch him the most beautiful souls I could find. It was a fun little ritual of his. I'd bring them back, and he'd ask if I wanted to dine with him. And if I said yes, he'd serve me a dead, putrid rat. Of course, if I said no, he'd have me flayed. Hard to say which was worse. My point is simple. The Mind Flayers aren't the only monsters out there. They're not even the only ones hunting us. All I'm asking is that you keep your eyes open and watch out for anything lurking in the shadows. If you think they'll take me and spare you, you haven't been listening. But at least we know where we all stand. What do you need now? Darling, I thought you'd never ask. Lead on.
these things are still interesting.
Curious ornate box. Its many sides are engraved with indecipherable glyphs. No openings you can see, yet you sense something inside it.
What a pretty thing. I imagine it's dangerous. Most pretty things are.
The box doesn't yield.
Those runes. This object must hold great power. It will not yield to our hands alone. Blackith's will be done.
Don't touch me.
Making me sweat.
Can't give up now. What's in here?
What are you doing? Hold up before they see you, Gresham. Got more important things to watch than my harassing tongue. Look. That lot are swarming all over the bridge. I don't know what they want, but it can't be good. I'm going to find another way around. You ought to do the same. I doubt a fight against them would go your way. What? Just follow you around? I go my own way. Alone. Nobody. Just another harassing fool trying to stay alive. There's plenty of us around. Rag. That's it. I'm getting out of here.
Drop your weapons!
I'll feed your innards to the ants before I do that, Istik.
This is your last chance!
No, look up. That was your last chance, Istik. Now burn!
Stop wasting time, Beretta. You're not here to play with the locals.
Of course, Kithrak. We merely sought to...
No excuses. Question, kill, then move on. Find the weapon. Our queen watches us. Fail her at your peril.
A red dragon. I envy its knight. Would that I rode such a steed. A crash must be near. Come, my kin await. The dragons serve Githyanki. I'll see it does you no harm. Follow me. We are close to the cure we seek.
Oh, man slipped.
Kithrak, we must speak.
Beretta, look what wanders near. Young one, it is not your time to speak.
Ryder, my time is short. Lead me to...
Shh. Such a familiar tone. Were I not merciful, I would slice the skin clean from your meat. Yet you are not bleeding. For I am nothing if not merciful. Your name, child.
Imbecile! Stay back!
Now, child, your pet means to speak. Tell me, pet, why shouldn't I run you through this instant? You make good use of silence. Too many think hot air will save them. If I have no use for you alive, I'll have your death slow and sweet. Understand? A vessel fell from the sky. We seek a precious weapon that was taken from it.
You suddenly feel a strange anxiety take hold. Not your...
Ryder, my time is short. Lead me to...
Shh. Such a familiar tone. Were I not yet you are not... Your name.
Lae'zel.
Lae'zel. Proud. Regal, even. You will call me Gestil Kithrak.
Voss, Knight Supreme. The Queen's silver, the Queen's sword.
I am who you say. A Geich vessel has fallen from the sky, Lae'zel. Thieves aboard have taken a weapon most precious. It is polyhedric in shape and inscribed with the sacred runes of our people.
You suddenly feel a strange anxiety take hold. Not your own, but that of the artifact you carry. Somehow, it's afraid. You attune your mind to it. The artifact does not want to fall into the Gith Raiders' hands any more than it does the Absolute followers.
Take word to your creche. You are to join our search. Speak up, child. Affirm your mandate.
You honor me with this duty, Kithrak. I shall alert my caretaker with haste.
The Kithrak nods, content with Lae'zel's answer.
You serve your queen well, child. Take your slaves and hunt those who escaped the Geich ship. They must carry the weapon.
I fly now to Vlaakith, our undying queen. She will see your faith rewarded in this plane and ours.
A current of deception carries Voss's words. Wherever he flies, it is not to Vlaakith.
To Danos! To the sky!
Damn it all! You did well to intervene, vexed as I am to admit it. The Jastil Kithrak would have flayed our skin and left our carcasses to burn in the sun. All for the sake of the artifact that we carry. The crash is near, this much we know. We follow the path forward and into the valley. No one, not even the ignoble Jastil Kithrak, will keep me from my purification.
Looks like that dragon destroyed the road.
Still warm from the red dragon's fire.
A dragon is clearly not to be trifled with.
Road closed. Detour ahead.
Eager for battle. What's that?
All's well that ends. Not as bad as it could have.
Don't burn yourself.
Looking ahead.
Assume nothing.
All right, what now?
So, you know about these parasites. Will we survive them?
Only if my people extract them. The only other cure is the blade.
Okay. Wonderful.
Look at these gouges. Something big made these.
Feed if you must, Astarion. But give me so much as a hungry look, and I'll drive a stake through your heart.
I do so very like spicy food.
That contraption's a hot ticket item. Might not be our last scrap for its sake. The year, 10 Air. The place, sleepy little town called Baldur's Gate. Our hero, Karlach, a knock-knee delinquent from the outer city with everything to give and nothing to lose. I was a kid looking for a way to fill my days and make some cash when I fell into the wrong crowd. Worked for a guy I respected. A lot. Turns out the feeling wasn't mutual. Through the jigs and the reels, he made a deal with Zariel behind my back. You know Zariel, right? Archdevil of Avernus. She put this thing in my chest and set me to work. Well, to war. I learned quick how to stay alive. And the engine served me when it came to killing devils. 10 years of that. The stories I could tell. Guy named Gortash. Politician. Inventor. One of these wheeler-dealer types who seems to have a finger in every pie. I guess I was naive to think everything he got up to was above board. What did I know? I saw a job. A good job. With people I liked. Doing work I was good at. Sometimes I'm jealous of that girl. Ugh, to feel so invincible again. Gives me energy. Power. But you've seen it in action. Very hard to control. If I'm excited at all, angry, nervous, delighted, enticed, I burn hot. Hot enough to burn anyone who gets close. I'd trade you if I could. I miss it more than anything. But hey, that's life. Or so I'm told. Soldier. Let's hope Damon is as good as he seems. Once my engine's handled, I can focus on more important matters. Tadpoles, cults, frosty pints. Funny you should ask. I was just thinking about what would have become of us without that Nautiloid. I mean, I know where I'd be. Trapped in Avernus still, with the Blade of Frontiers on my tail. But what about you? I can picture you getting mixed up in some outrageous shit. Giants, beholders, Thayans, the works. Maybe once we've wrapped up the current shenanigans, we'll rest a bit and find some new heap of troubles to throw ourselves at. Hey, soldier. You really did it, huh? Not worried about adding more Illithid into the mix? Well, what can I say? You look fine, smell fine, seem fine. And yet, you're more mind flayer than ever. Hope you don't expect me to follow your lead in this. Do they? I'm not sure either of us can say one way or the other. We don't know what the costs might be just yet. How do you do that? Always making sense when I least want you to. Fine. I'll keep an open mind, all right? I can promise that much. Now, are we done here? Hey, soldier.